Hello, welcome. So, I recently became the first person to reach 1,000 in a Hero Shrine Lich Paradox streak. And there's a lot of things that I did to reach 1,000 that no other streakers do or have done. Which I thought would be cool to talk about in a little video. So I'm just going to do a run. And talk about a lot of the strategies and my thought process behind a lot of the decisions I make. This is going to be really similar to a video Let's Suffer Together made. I don't know how long ago. I use a lot of updated strategies compared to what he did. There's a lot of things that he talked about that I will be talking about as well because they're very important, like making sure you don't have a guaranteed gun from your boss drop. That's super important. I'll talk about that a little bit later. But there's a ton of stuff that he either didn't go over or didn't know about at the time, which is very important. So I'm going to be restarting a few times here just to get like a mediocre to weak start here, because we don't want an instant win right from the start. That wouldn't be very informative, so definitely don't want Rat Boots, Raiden Coil, and Blasphemy. We don't want Mega Dowser, and we don't want armor. Mega Dowser is extremely strong to start with. Nope, I'm just gonna restart a few more times here. Hopefully we get a weak start. My standards are very low for starts, of course. I mean, you do enough runs, you can win with quite literally anything. Okay. This is fine. We can start with a really strong gun. But that is A-okay. We'll just roll with it. So, first off, we are playing on Hero Shrine, and Hero Shrine, if you don't know, is just this statue here. What it does is it sets your curse to 9. It doesn't add 9 curse, it sets it to 9, which is a little bit different. And that just makes you have a lot of jammed enemies, you get a lot more money. So your shop options are extremely, extremely opened up. So you're going to see us buying a lot of stuff compared to what you would be doing on a normal run. So right now, what I'm going to be doing is actually using Winchester for this room clear here instead of my starter. I don't care about saving the ammo. And the reason for that is we want to get rid of our guaranteed gun from our boss drop. I'd mentioned that a little bit earlier, but to explain that, every boss is guaranteed to give you a gun unless you pick up a new gun on that floor before you get the boss drop. But you can trick the game into thinking you picked up a new gun by emptying one of your weapons and throwing it. When you throw a weapon, which you have to empty it to throw it, the game thinks you pick up a new weapon when you pick it back up, which is super helpful. Because especially if we start with good weapons, we want to be getting items. But if we were fortunate enough to get a weaker start here, I would be taking the guaranteed gun on floor 1, which is what I do very commonly. If you start with weak guns, it's a really good idea to just take the guaranteed gun on floor 1 to help you get through the oubliette. Because the oubliette is one of the more dangerous floors in a Hero Shrine run, especially on a weak start. There's a ton of stuff there that can really mess you up. Really dangerous rooms. So we're going to throw it there. We're all good to go. So hopefully we get an ammo drop so we can use that for the boss, but if we don't, it's not a big deal. So this is going to go to the chest there. We don't want to go to the chests yet. The reason we don't want to go to the chests is because they are going to be fused a lot of the time in Hero Shrine. And we don't have any way to get rid of that fuse. And on floor 1, a really good way to defuse those chests is just with the water barrels that you see in the fireplace room or just in a random room. There's always 2 of them. You might not always see 2 of them because it can be in the hatch room, the oubliette hatch room. It can be in a secret room. We were fortunate enough to have it in the chest room, even though that is a mimic. We'll wait on killing that mimic for now. Yeah. Gotta be watching out for those barrels and keeping them alive. Not just for the fireplace if you're playing Hero Shrine. So we'll keep that water barrel alive by putting out that fire. And just keeping it far away. It can be hard to not push the barrel into the fire while still diffusing it, but if you practice a little bit, you can get it down pretty well. So we're going to take some time here to push this barrel. So we went over the weapon, getting rid of the guaranteed boss weapon, which is, like I said, extremely important. That's one of the more important maybe strategies, more advanced strategies we use during these runs. Another big one, another 2 big ones, which I'll talk about a lot, are Magnificence manipulation and synergy factor manipulation. Which, odds are you've never heard of synergy factor. It's not very well documented at all, which is really unfortunate. Basically, what synergy factor is, I'm sure if you've played this game enough, you'll notice that you seem to get a synergy at the start of your run really often, and then you don't get synergies for a while, and then if you're going to enough secret floors or things like that, you start getting synergies again because you have so many items and guns. Because of course, the more stuff you have, the more likely you are to get synergies. But there is like a hidden mechanic called synergy factor that makes you more likely to get synergies the fewer synergies you've seen. It starts at, I believe, 80%. I didn't refresh myself on the numbers, but I want to say it starts at 80%. You are 80% more likely to see a synergy if you have 0. If you have 1 synergy, it's 10% more likely. And once you have 2 synergies, it's like 2% or something like that. It's not very important once you have 2 synergies or more, honestly. So we diffused that chest. That went well. There was a fuse on it, so it's a good thing we brought that barrel there. So basically what the synergy factor means is sometimes you'll see me not take something for seemingly no reason. And usually the reason for that is because I want to avoid picking up a synergy that I won't be using, that won't be useful to me, to keep my synergy factor at 80%. So I'm more likely to see a useful synergy. And the same kind of thing applies to Magnificence manipulation, which, if you know what Magnificence is, a lot of people don't mess with it. A lot of people use the save and quit exploit, which I'll talk about why I don't do that. But pretty much what I do is if I see a red chest on floor 1, I'll usually break it. If I see like a black chest on floor 2 and I have a bunch of keys, maybe I'll open it, and if I get something bad, I'll just leave it on the ground. I won't even touch it, because if I touch it, if I pick it up, even to sell, it'll raise my Magnificence. And Magnificence, if you don't know, is a hidden stat, another hidden stat. Gungeon loves its hidden stats. That makes it so... It's what limits your high-tier items and guns, basically. Let's do the boss here. And I'll talk about it a little more. I don't need to focus too much during these boss fights. I've done them a lot. I don't think you need to explain what to do during these. But basically, Magnificence... Oh, I got hit there. That is embarrassing. Basically, if you look on the wiki, it'll show your numbers. I don't know the numbers off the top of my head, but if you take one ARS tier item or gun, your odds of getting another high tier chest or boss drop or whatever goes down a ridiculous amount. So you kind of don't want to waste that on a mediocre high tier item or gun. So I usually like to hold off on picking up Magnificence until like, usually Oubliette, or not Oubliette, sorry, the Abbey, typically. I mean, if I get something earlier, which is rare, I will take it. But the thing is, you're gonna need to gauge yourself whether it's worth it for you to leave behind synergies to keep your synergy factor, or leave behind magnificent items or guns. Here's Cactus, nice. That's all something you're gonna need to gauge yourself, based on your own skill level. For me, it's worth it to leave behind a lot of things. We're gonna take Bug Boots, we have a lot of money here. Junk everything. But yeah, I definitely don't recommend to everybody worrying about synergy factor or magnificence, but I definitely do personally, because of where I'm at experience-wise. This is a nice gun. That'll help out quite a lot. I'm probably gonna use Cactus for the next floor. We'll junk this. Also, it's worth mentioning, fuses don't generate until you enter the room, which usually doesn't matter except for secrets. You see, I haven't entered that room yet, but if I enter, oh, there's the fuse. So it can be a good idea to not enter a secret room with a chest if you don't know what you're gonna do with the chest yet. We definitely don't want Potion of Gun Friendship because it is a bad item. And thinking about synergies we could get here. There's none off the top of my head that are very common. It's really useful to know common synergies. Which ones are good, which ones are bad. So you know which ones to avoid and which ones to go for. And we did miss the Master Round, which missing the Master Round, I'm sure you know, it's pretty bad because you missed the heart container, but it's really bad for reasons you probably haven't thought about or didn't even know about. So back to the synergy factor thing. Chamber Gun is an extremely strong weapon, which synergizes with every single Master Round. Which means the more Master Rounds you have, the more likely you are to see that Chamber Gun, which can just be an instant win. So that's a big reason you don't want to be missing those Master Rounds. It lowers your Chamber Gun odds by a lot. Even more if you're thinking about synergy factor manipulation actively. So missing that Master Round was pretty bad for me, but we're on a pretty strong start, so I'm not too worried about it. Another reason missing the first floor Master Round specifically is bad is a mechanic called Heart Magnificence. There's multiple kinds of Magnificence. There's like Chest Magnificence, which is similar to normal Magnificence, just with chests. Magnificence and Heart Magnificence. So what Heart Magnificence is basically the more heart containers you have, the less likely you are to see other heart containers from like chests, boss drops, whatever. Which is good. You don't want to see those heart containers. typically. Because it's wasting other drops that could give you actual firepower. So because I missed that first floor master round, I'm actually much more likely to see a heart container here, which is not going to be good for us because we don't need hearts. It's very rare that we'll take damage to our health itself. It's usually going to be to our armor. We're going to leave that glass there. The reason I leave behind glass is because the rat doesn't take it, and because we always want to have at least one glass stone on us to increase our chances of glass cannon with our synergy factor. Like, you see how much synergy factor plays into all my decision making when it comes to even tiny stuff like picking up a glass Gungeon stone or not. Because in case I get hit, I want to have a backup so I have that higher chance of getting glass cannon. Sorry. The oubliette is a very difficult floor, especially in Hero Shrine, so I might need to focus a little more during some of these rooms. Alright, our cactus is almost out, which is good. Because typically you want to have one weapon empty. That's kind of your, like, empty fodder weapon that you just throw every floor and never reload. Because it's not very useful. And I think that weapon for us will be the cactus. Not that the cactus is not useful, it's just we don't really need it right now. We have better weapons. Our starter is similar to cactus. We've got the Winchester. We're looking really nice right now. Okay, luckily we do have a diffuser. The earlier you get a diffuser in a Hero Shrine, the better, because it's gonna make you get a lot more value out of your chests. Because you never know how many key drops you're gonna get, or if you're gonna get a key, or something like that. Here's secret. Also, you might have noticed, while I was talking on floor 1, I opened a secret without shooting it or anything. Might have wondered what's up with that. That's just kind of experience, I guess. Once you play enough, there are certain set pieces that you know there's a secret there every time. There's some more obvious ones, excuse me. Like, if there's an indentation in the bottom of the shop, that's probably the most obvious one. You know there's gonna be a secret there. It's like, not the... I don't know how to explain it. It's just like a tiny little doorway that's at the bottom of the shop. You always know there's going to be a secret there. If there's just like a little indentation there, like a staircase going down on each side, you don't know if there's a secret there. There can be. Looking at this shop right now, there can't be a secret down here. There can't be a secret up there. Of course, there can't be secrets on the sides because there are doors there. There needs to be able to be a door where the secret is. And since there can't be doors on the top or bottom with that kind of shop, I know there's no secret there. That just comes with experience. You play enough, you'll be able to find the secrets very easily, actually. Another way you can find the secrets, or know where a secret is, or rather, know where a secret is not, is by just looking at the wall. If there are props against the wall, blocking where the doorway would be, you know the secret cannot be there, with a couple exceptions. That's not a hard and fast rule. There's very few exceptions, but they do exist. One of which being on this floor specifically, those bulletkin, he just died, but those bulletkin guys that are just lying on the floor, rolling around, those guys can actually be directly in front of the doorway. So if you're looking at every wall on the floor and shooting a lot of them, you might miss it if one of those bulletkin is in the way. So you got to be mindful of that. There were a few other exceptions. I can't remember what they are. They're very rare. It's very rare that it matters, but they do exist. It's worth mentioning. sorry. This room gets really intense. Our beginning was pretty lucky since there weren't very many jammed enemies, which was fortunate. Cool, ammo. So we can finally get some ammo in our Winchester, which we are going to save. Definitely. We want to make sure we have a good gun for our crest delivery. Okay. Oh, this is a tough room too. There's a lot of tough rooms in the oubliette. One thing I like to do with the bats is the little bats that spawn and shoot themselves at you, if they're jammed, they can drop large amounts of money. And you lose all of that money if you let them shoot themselves. So I like to be ready with a really strong gun when I kill the big bats that like have all the bouncy projectiles. So I can kill those jam bats and not lose that money. Which is very handy. We need all the money we can get. Actually, we're rich right now. 210 casings, wow. That's awesome. We're gonna be able to buy a lot next floor. Usually money's pretty tight before floor 2 because you have to afford the rat key. Especially in normal runs. In normal runs, sometimes you can only buy the one key to go to the oubliette, and that's it. Maybe another key in the oubliette if you're lucky. Or rather, you don't get screwed on money. So that's very nice. Alright. Got a diffuser here. Check it for a mimic. Great. So if I look in this chest room here, for example, I know there's no secrets in here because, oh, there's a grate in front of that one. I'm pretty sure that means there can't be a secret. Don't quote me on that. But either way, there's a bag right there as well. This barrel right here, it's a little off center. Sometimes it's hard to tell. If you're not sure, just shoot it. But there could not have been a secret there. So that's how you can tell at a glance, especially in chest rooms, where a secret can be and where it can't. Which is very, very handy for just saving a little bit of ammo, a lot of time. Just save your own sanity, checking every wall, everywhere. If you're that committed. A little scared of this slime. I don't want to roll against the slime if I don't need to because I don't want to be caught out of position. Deal with that guy real quick. So we talked about getting rid of the guaranteed weapon from boss, which we have done this for, by the way. We threw the cactus and the Winchester, I believe. We talked a little bit about Magnificence and Magnificence manipulation, not taking high tier guns or items that are bad, or however much you can handle. Like, for example, if I'm early on and I don't have a really good active or a good gun to use with Ring of Triggers, I won't take Ring of Triggers. Even though it probably will be useful later on, I just won't take it because, well, I shouldn't even say probably won't be useful later on because I don't think the Ring of Triggers is a good item. Which I should have talked about the Potion of Gun Friendship. I said that's a bad item earlier, which isn't 100% true. I should probably explain that a little bit, which I will do during this boss fight. During this boss fight, we will use... We'll just use our starter. Lobby Lord is fairly easy, and we don't have a master round we're protecting. So we'll just save our ammo. But basically, Ring of Triggers and Potion of Gun Friendship are relatively poor items. I say relatively because, of course, like anything else in Gungeon, given the right circumstance, it's useful. Anything can be useful in the right circumstance. I'm talking more generally. Generally, Potion of Gun Friendship is just not useful, at least for me. I will admit, the more you min-max, the more secret floors you go to, the more powerful you are on average, the worse it becomes. So if you're a new player, or a relatively new player, that's not worrying about min-maxing, not going to many secret floors, you barely have any guns or items during your runs, it's probably pretty good. And the reason for that is boss damage cap. Everybody knows what it is. A lot of people hate it. But it does exist, whether you like it or not. So that's the reason Potion of Gun Friendship is pretty poor. Is it will usually make you do less damage to the boss while wasting more ammo. The biggest problem with Potion of Gun Friendship, well, there's two problems with it, is the fire rate. The fire rate just makes you throw more ammo at the boss for the same or less damage because of the damage cap. So you're wasting a lot of ammo. And the knockback, actually. The knockback makes it pretty much completely useless for rooms for regular damage. I mean, sometimes it can be useful if you need to knock something into a pit quickly and you don't have a weapon with good knockback. It can be useful, but that is rare that you don't have a good knockback weapon. If they took the knockback off of Potion of Gun Friendship, I would think it's a very good item. Mainly for room clear with your starter. Charm runs, those are okay. Because you would put out so much damage and wreck everything in a room if it's a problem. It would be so good, but because of that knockback, you're knocking things back so you can't hit them consistently, which just makes them take longer to die. I mean, it gets them away from you, but what's better, getting it away from you or killing it quickly? Sometimes getting it away from you is better, but usually you just want to you just want to kill it. And Ring of Triggers suffers from sort of the same issue, but less so. Because Ring of Triggers is useful for room clear if you have a good active and a good gun with it, which is a little bit hard to come by, but that's okay. Sorry, let's think about what we're doing with these chests here before I finish my thought. So usually what I like to do is one chest, like 99% of the time, has a gun and one has an item. That's not always the case. Sometimes you can get 2 guns or 2 items, which I don't know if that's a bug or not, but it does happen. And because of that, one thing I like to do is either open both chests or none of them, actually. So that's why, even though I have keys, I'm gonna junk both of these because we cannot open both of them, which means we don't get a guaranteed item. We want that guaranteed item. For this next floor, let's use some cactus and Winchester. We'll empty cactus so we can throw it. And then we will use probably our pistol and Winchester after that. The cactus won't last more than a few rooms, so that's okay. We're not munching anything. All of our guns are useful, even cactus for just being empty and throwing it. But back to what I was saying about Ring of Triggers. Ring of Triggers is useful for room clear sometimes, rarely, but sometimes. But is just not useful for bosses because of damage cap. You're doing a huge burst of damage all at once, which is just a recipe for doing nothing. If you have any decent amount of damage. If you have no damage, then okay, it's good. Just like the Potion of Gun Friendship. If you have no damage, Potion of Gun Friendship is gonna get you closer to that damage cap. It's gonna be doing its full effect against that boss, which is really good. So it can be good early on in runs, sometimes, if you need it. Even late in runs if you are very weak somehow. But the Ring of Triggers does have its moments. So does the Potion of Gun Friendship, honestly. They have their moments with, we were talking about it earlier, Glass Cannon. Glass Cannon is one of the best guns in the game because it makes those less useful, like fire rate, really high burst damage items and stuff really useful because it is it is receiving its full potential there with the glass cannon. You're gonna like one-shot a boss with no damage, pretty much, with that glass cannon. Glass cannon synergizes with probably the most things in the entire game. Of course, it's not an actual synergy, it's more of a soft synergy, but still, it exists. And the difference with glass cannon versus the other weapons that ignore damage cap, like Yari Launcher and Makeshift Cannon, are those things are S tier. And you're not going to see S tiers very often unless you're fishing for them really hard by manipulating your magnificence, which isn't always an option. And sometimes you want to take maybe not a high dragonfire, maybe a dragonfire, maybe, I don't know, an A key. Sometimes you want to take that other good gunner item, excuse me, early on. So you're not going to see Yari Launcher and Makeshift that often at all, especially because they don't have common synergies. That's another big reason. But Glass Cannon has none of those issues. Glass Cannon has probably one of, if not the most common synergy with the Glass Guanstone. This synergy is ridiculously common, and if you're using your synergy factor manipulation, you're gonna see Glass Cannon a lot. Like a lot. Along with some other key guns and items that I will go over that you're going to want to fish for with your synergy factor. I'll give like a relatively short list that probably won't cover everything, but it'll cover the big ones. Yeah, Glass Cannon is just crazy, and you always want it because it makes a lot of things really good. Double vision, in my opinion, is it kind of has the same issue with Potion of Gun Friendship, except minus the ammo waste and the knockback, actually, which are two of the bigger issues. You're still going to be hitting damage cap really quickly with most builds, unless you're getting really unlucky somehow, which is just, I don't know, really unlikely if you're playing properly, but it can happen, so it'll be useful then. But yeah, if you get double vision with Glass Cannon, boom, you're golden. You're doing double damage to bosses, which is huge with Glass Cannon, because you're getting that full double damage. But yeah, double vision I think is relatively good. You're not wasting ammo because it doesn't increase your fire rate, it just makes you shoot double projectiles. You're not knocking things back more. I mean, you kind of are since you're shooting twice as much, but not nearly as much as with Potion of Gun Friendship. And yeah, if I were to pick between the two, I would pick double vision every day of the week for those reasons. But let's go over the things you want to be fishing for with your synergy factor. Of course, we already talked about chamber gun with your master rounds. That one is just kind of automatic. You should be getting your master rounds, so you're always fishing for chamber gun, basically. Glass cannon, always make sure you have at least one glass stone on you. Having more than one, it's nice. They're not very good at blocking bullets, in all honesty, so in my opinion, having more than one on you just is inconsequential. It doesn't matter. But always make sure you have one on you to give you that 80% higher chance of getting glass cannon. Another huge one is heavy boots. Heavy boots? Ridiculous synergy item. One big reason for that is Iron Stance. Iron Stance is... Sorry. I'm going to deal with this ammo really quick. This is ammo spread, so we're gonna... Actually, I'll put ammo in the cactus. I was gonna leave the cactus on the ground so it didn't get any ammo, but we'll put the 200 in it. Use it a little bit, since we still need 3 room clear. Yeah, sorry, I'm not talking about the game, what's happening in the game very much at all, because there's so many mechanics we have to go over. Just, we haven't had to do any magnificence manipulation or synergy factor manipulation yet. But when we do, I will let you know. I will definitely point it out. Let's diffuse that. That is a mimic. We don't want to fight the mimic yet since we still have our crest. We can open secret. I don't want to do anything with that chest right now because if it's a mimic, fighting it in this like little hallway or that room is very dangerous. And I won't enter that room because it will be fused. We actually we can defuse it with bug boots without aggroing the mimic. We might as well do that. No reason not to. But anyway, heavy boots. Heavy boots. Oh my god. I don't even know all the synergies they give you off the top of my head. I can't remember if they give hardwood with mahogany or not. I know they give a really good anvil and synergy. I can't remember the name. Like a lot of synergies. I know they're good. I know what they're with. I just can't remember the name. That's kind of how it goes with me. I remember the important stuff, and that's it. But yeah, heavy boots. The biggest synergy with heavy boots is Iron Stance. Easily. Iron Stance is one of the best synergies in the entire game. Because, of course, if you've played this game, you know how strong the shotguns are. The shotguns are ridiculously powerful. For room clear, even for boss clear, they're really ammo efficient. If you get a shotgun, that ammo is gonna last a really long time. It's so awesome. So shotguns are amazing in this game, and Iron Stance just makes them better in every single way. I think it makes them shoot faster, it makes them do more damage, it increases projectile speed. I'm not sure if it increases accuracy or not. I'm not sure. I want to say it doesn't, but you can look it up if you like. There goes Crest, but that's okay. So Iron Stance is a huge one. Yeah, sorry, we're not going to the Abbey this run. Probably shouldn't have been talking there. I'll mess that up again. Okay. Another big one is Pistol Machine. Pistol Machine, if you've had, you'll know it's just awesome. That synergy is ridiculously powerful. And the good thing about that synergy isn't even the power. The thing with synergies in this game is you can have the best synergy ever, but it's like 2 A tiers. Like for instance, Black Hole Gun and Tentacle. That's probably raw power, the most powerful synergy in the game, in my opinion. Probably. I don't know. There's others that kind of compete, but that one's very good. But the problem with that one is it's 2 A tier guns. When are you gonna see that? It's so rare. The good thing about synergies like Iron Stance and Pistol Machine is you're gonna see them, especially if you're fishing for them, a good amount of the time, which is awesome. Those are what you need to be looking for, and they're gonna make you win a lot more often. The thing is, you don't need to be that good at this game to win. Is kind of not the sad fact, but it is a fact. Like, you need to know how to dodge things relatively well. As long as you're not taking damage every single room, you can just know what to look for, how to manipulate your drops, and just how to min-max in general. And you're gonna win a lot more often without even getting better at the game at all. Like, just skill-wise, dodging, all that. As you've seen here, I've made 2 massive mistakes. I lost our first floor master round, and I lost the crest, which the Abbey is a very important floor. That you get a lot of power from that. Guaranteed synergy chest, Albern's chest, 2 chests, all that money, really good shop, all that. I lost the crest, and I barely even batted an eye because I'm not worried. I know what I'm doing. I know how to become powerful in this game. So it's not that big of a deal if I get hit every now and then and lose some items. So we are going to get Blast Helmet. Blast Helmet is really good because it gives Nailed It. Nailed It is another really good synergy. The problem with Nailed It is, oh my god, we're going to need to get into gun classes if we're going to talk about Nailed It. Gun classes are That is a mouthful. There's a lot to unpack there. Ooh, speaking of pistol machine, you're gonna want to memorize what works with pistol machine. So just look on the wiki, kind of remember, keep a mental note. You're gonna want to remember what shotguns work with iron stance. It doesn't really matter that much because you're going to be taking all the shotguns anyway, usually. And you're usually going to be taking heavy boots because it has really good synergies elsewhere. But some things that work for pistol machine with the machine pistol, you might not always buy if you don't know it gives you the synergy. Like laser sight. Laser sight is a really good item, but sometimes you might not be able to afford it, or you can barely afford it, but you're like, maybe it's better to save my money or just buy something else, like buy a key. But you should buy that laser sight if you can. You should try really hard to buy it because it gives pistol machine. And especially if you have no synergies, and you're more likely to get that pistol machine. And if you get it, you're gonna be really strong. Okay, let's do this. Open it. So right now, what are we doing here? I think what I'm gonna do is actually... God, okay, so let's talk about gun classes a little bit here. Gun classes are something that I started messing with maybe a few months ago. And I'm probably not going to talk about it a whole lot because Never Named, who's a big Gungeon YouTuber, if you're watching this, you probably know who he is. And you've probably even seen the video, made a video on gun classes. Which is really informative. And one thing... So, a few months ago, I did a ton of testing with gun classes. I tested with a couple other people on my stream. What the most efficient way to go about it is, manipulating it. Well, basically what it is every gun in Gungeon is categorized into a group. So there's like shotgun, full auto, I don't even know all of them off the top of my head. It doesn't matter that much. And the more guns you have in that class, the less likely you are to see another gun in that class. So if I have 3 shotguns, I'm really unlikely to see a 4th shotgun, for example. Which you can use to your advantage with synergy factor. In my opinion, manipulating gun class by itself is not very useful. It's just not. There's not one gun class that's so good that you want to be increasing your odds of getting it all the time. It just doesn't exist. Except for maybe shotgun, but we'll talk about that in a bit. But with synergy factor, you can pick something in mind that you want and manipulate your gun class like weight to get it. So right now we want pistol machine, and pistol machine, I'm gonna look it up because I can't remember what machine pistol is off the top of my head. I think it's full auto, but it might be pistol. Some of the gun classes are weird, like Betrayer's Shield, you would think it's full auto, but it is a pistol. So we'll look up machine pistol, Gungeon, go to the wiki, and look at what class it is. It is full auto. Okay, so right now I know I don't have any full auto because Cactus is shitty. Sorry, that is the actual name of the class, is shitty. I don't know what else to call it. Sorry for the profanity, but it is shitty. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna open this. And we did not get the machine pistol, but we were more likely to get it because we had no full auto weapons. So right now, this we know is a gun because this was an item. And it's a mimic, so it's free. So what C tier guns could we get? I don't know off the top of my head. Or no, sorry, not gun. Yeah, a gun. I'm not sure. Based on these items, there's nothing that pops out that I want to be manipulating for, so I'm just going to open it. You don't always have to manipulate every single chest. It doesn't matter that much. Sometimes it can be worth it. Sometimes it can be nice to increase your odds of getting something. So we got balloon gun. That's really good. And what I was talking about with the blast helmet, when I picked it up, I said we were going to have to talk about synergy factor, or sorry, gun classes, is nail gun is a shitty gun, which is really unfortunate because nail gun has the nailed it synergy, which triples its damage and makes the nails a lot bigger. Nailed it is, oh, that's a carry synergy, basically. You get nailed it, you're going to be killing all your rooms very quickly, and it's very ammo efficient because it keeps the 500 rounds of the nail gun while tripling its damage, which is crazy. But the problem with the shitty class is most starters are shitty. So right out the gate, you're less likely to see shitty guns if you have most starters, except for like Blasphemy and the Gunslinger starter. But also, most gun classes, you're 50% less likely to see a gun in that class based on all the guns you have. Like one shotgun, you're 50% less likely to see another shotgun. But with the shitty class, you're 90% less likely to see it, which is very unfortunate for the nail gun. Most shitty guns, none of them are like, some of them are really good. There's Buzzkill, you got, I can never remember the name of the slow projectile one because I never see it because it's shitty. Shitty guns are much more rare, but that one's good. Cactus is okay. Cactus is shitty as well, I believe. Some pretty powerful guns in there that you're not going to see very often, which is unfortunate. So yeah, you're not going to see the nailed it synergy very often, but I will take blast helmet just in case we get like a synergy chest or something. So let's do this boss. Right now, we know our synergy factor. Oh, sorry. I was about to say, we know our synergy factor is going to go down, but we don't have the first one master round. Because Alien Sidearm has a synergy with 2 master rounds, which is, it's decent. It's worth getting, in my opinion. Chief Master. Makes it shoot a lot faster, get a little more ammo. And have 2 powerful shots at the end of the clip. Fairly decent synergy. But we're not getting it. There's another reason why you want those master rounds for that synergy. So we're not getting it right now, which is unfortunate, but not that big of a deal. So Mine Cutter. I can't remember if there's any Mine Cutter synergies. We'll find out. Nope. I don't know all the synergies off the top of my head, and I don't care to look it up every time. That's just too much of a time commitment for me. So right now, we do have Unbelievably Charming, I believe is the synergy name, with Charmbow and Charm Bullets. If we buy Charmbow, we will get that synergy, and our synergy factor will go from... Sorry, did I say 10% earlier? I think it's 15% when you have one synergy. Excuse me. Those numbers were wrong. I hope I don't regret that in the future if Nevername makes a video on it. Actually, we will buy the key. So the reason I'm not getting that synergy is I believe that's the fairy synergy that lets you look inside chests, which is ridiculously powerful, by the way. Anything that lets you look inside chests is so strong because it makes it so you don't need keys anymore. But we have 4 keys, so I'm not going to take it. And we missed the Abbey, unfortunately. So we won't be going there. As far as guns go, I'm going to use the Alien Sidearm as my main and Mine Cutter as my sidearm if there's something strong that I need to take care of quickly. Typically for rooms, just to talk about more base gameplay, dodging, playing the game, which we haven't talked about very much in general, it's been mostly min-maxing, is personally what I like to do is have one weapon that's very ammo efficient. It could be your starter. It usually is my starter. Could be something like this, could be cactus. Could even be a shotgun. Shotguns are usually ammo efficient. Winchester's one of the less ammo efficient ones since it only has 100 shells, but still pretty good. And I like to have a backup weapon on my swap button that is really high DPS, but maybe a little less ammo efficient. It could be my boss clear. It could just be a different weapon. It could be a weapon with really high projectile speed, like this. The reason I like Mine Cutter is it is really high DPS, really high projectile speed, so I can hit stuff from really far away without worrying. I have that as my backup if there's a problem, enemy or a few enemies, or even a whole room that I just need to take care of quickly or I'm going to get hit. Which happens quite often. That strategy, that kind of setup, can save you a lot of health and a lot of ammo. Because if if I chose to use the Mine Cutter itself for all these rooms, it's gonna run out pretty quick. It's not very ammo efficient. When in reality, I don't need that much power for most of these rooms. Like this room was really simple. Not very dangerous. I didn't need to kill anything very quickly. But like this, I mean, this isn't a little more dangerous. This is still pretty simple, but if this were a hard second wave, I could just whip out my Mine Cutter, kill a couple guys that are a problem, and then go back to using my ammo-efficient weapon. That strategy, that setup, can save you so many headaches. Just wondering where your ammo is and just dying because of it. It's really helpful. I do enjoy it as a general strategy. And that can even make it so you're using your starter into like floor 4, even floor 5. Because for a lot of those rooms, or a lot of those enemies, you're just using your starter, chilling, killing them really slowly, and then just whipping out that extra weapon when you need it, saving a ton of ammo. It makes using your starter a lot more viable, especially if you're less experienced. So, as far as lore strategy goes, typically what I like to do is I actually usually skip the Abbey because it's a waste of time, actually. The Abbey, like I said earlier, is a ridiculously strong floor with a lot of good loot, but the more experienced you are, the fewer floors you actually have to go to win consistently. Which, if you're grinding out streaks like I was, which I don't know if I would recommend it, can kind of be taxing, but that was the strategy I used to speed up runs a little bit without losing consistency. Was I would just skip floors when it was unnecessary. Like if I'm really strong on floor 2, I would skip the Abbey. Every single run I skip floor 4. On this run I will skip floor 4. We're not going to the Hollow. So I'm sorry about that. If you wanted to see Hollow strategies on the bosses or anything. But we're not going to the Hollow, because the Hollow is a waste of time. After I kill the rat, I've already won. The rat gives you so much loot. Even ignoring the rat chests, you're getting 5 drops from the punch out if you're winning. Which is just a ridiculous amount. That's more than you would get in a floor usually. A lot more. So we're gonna switch to our starter and Mine Cutter here. I'm gonna use Mine Cutter to take care of this guy because I'm a little pinned. Sorry. Okay. But yeah, once I kill the rat, I've already won. Which there's a lot of things I do that I wouldn't recommend. That's one of them. Don't skip floor 4. Don't skip the Abbey if you can avoid it. go to those extra floors, because going to the extra floors is how you become powerful. And maybe you've noticed I said I'll skip the Abbey and I'll skip floor 4, but I didn't say I'll skip the oubliette. The oubliette, you never skip. Never, never, never skip the oubliette if you want to win consistently. At least on Hero Shrine. I can't speak for normal. It's probably fine. Even for Hero Shrine, I guess if you're skilled enough, you could skip the Abbey, the oubliette, and win 1,000 times in a row. Literally 1,000 times in a row. But I don't know anyone that is skilled enough. I'm sure not. So always, always go to the oubliette if you can. The oubliette is how you get most of your power. Honestly, throughout the whole run, because think about it. The oubliette, it allows you to go to the Abbey, which is an entire another floor. It gives you a lot of money right at the beginning of the run, which carries through the rest of your run. That money you get early on is super influential. Money you get on floor 1 and oubliette is going to be a lot more important than money you get on floor 5. I'll tell you that right now. We will throw this and reload it. We always like to have a gun emptied on every floor if we're not going to get a gun from a chest, which honestly, if you have enough keys to open the chests, you don't need to empty a gun and throw it. I still like to do it in case the gun is cursed, because I'm not going to take the Lord of the Jammed for like anything. Lord of the Jammed is usually just not worth it. Which I'll talk about in a sec, but yeah. The oubliette, man. Don't skip that. And if you're new to the game, try to learn it as soon as you can. That's my advice. A lot of people ask me, I'm new to Enter the Gungeon. Do you have any advice for me? It's hard for me to give advice because this is a very complex game. But one thing I will always say is learn the oubliette. Just learn the oubliette. Go there. Try your best to go there every run when you can, when it's feasible. Even if it's just to die. That's fine. You're gonna need to die a lot in this game anyway, so you might as well make it worth it. Right? Just learn the oubliette. That is my one tip, my one steadfast tip that I will give anyone. Learn the oubliette. But Lord of the Jammed, I was about to touch on. So Lord of the Jammed is kind of a weird one, because the thing is, you'll hear a lot of people say, Lord of the Jammed isn't that bad. He's just a little annoying, right? That is a very common opinion that I've seen, which I think stems from the fact that in normal runs, getting 10 curse takes a lot. You're gonna be very powerful if it's worth going to 10 curse, right? But in Hero Shrine, that's not the case. You're starting at 9 curse every run automatically. So you're not always going to be super powerful when you have Lord of the Jammed, or when Lord of the Jammed, you have the option to spawn him. Let's open these really quick. Macho Brace, that's fine. Okay. You're not always going to have... it's not always going to be worth it to spawn him, because you're not going to become super powerful for it. Except sometimes you will. So there's a small list of items, which I should have written this down. I always forget some of them. But there's a small list of items and guns, which I will usually take Lord of the Jammed for. And usually nothing out of this list I will take Lord of the Jammed from, or for. Which I will give this list right after this boss. Let's check how many blanks are in here. 3. So we can blank as many times as we want during this boss and still get to the rat. I'm not going to take Liquid Valkyrie because it's... I don't like it very much. It's an annoying item. And it's A tier, so... it would lower our chance of getting a magnificent item from this boss. I will focus a little bit because I don't want to lose my balloon gun. Cannonball Rug isn't too bad. As long as you get past the like first attack and get out of that first corner, you can usually take them down without too many issues. Which sometimes it's worth using a blank for that first, wow, nice lag, for that first attack, for that first little part in the corner, just to get you through the rest of the fight. Which is why I generally like to plan around having extra blanks for the rat. And we took him down without any issues, thanks to the balloon gun. Okay, there's homing bullets. That is good. Let's reload. Let's think. What are we reloading? Let's reload this, honestly. So we got the synergy, Chief Master. Our synergy factor is down to 15%. Yeah, I regret saying 10% earlier. That might bite me later on. I should have confirmed the numbers beforehand. But okay, here's the list of cursed things that I will take Lord of the Jam for. I'll give you the list. Number 1, Big Boy. Big Boy. I love Big Boy. The nuke. The nuke is extremely powerful, and I'm putting Big Boy on the list and not Bracket Key, which they're very similar, but there's a few very key differences that makes Big Boy a lot better than Bracket Key. So number 1 is Big Boy cools itself down from its use. If you nuke a room with a lot of guys, or even a room with only a few guys with a lot of coolness, while you have a lot of coolness, it's gonna cool down like instantly, which is crazy. An active item that cools itself down, an instant damage active item that instant kills a whole room, almost. Usually a whole room, unless it's massive, is just ridiculously strong. Bracket Key doesn't do that. Bracket Key does not cool itself down, which is really unfortunate. And Bracket Key doesn't even one-shot, which is another big difference. Big Boy, the way it works is Big Boy is going to transform everything that's relatively close. Or no, sorry, it's going to transform everything within a huge radius, and within like a medium radius, a smaller radius, it's going to kill or do a lot of damage to everything it transforms. And that damage is enough to kill the transformed enemies. It's those like weird infected guys you see in the oubliette. Just the infected bulletkin. I don't know the name. It turns them into them and kills them. That's why sometimes in a bigger room you'll see that it transformed them really far away without killing them. And you'll be like, okay, why did that happen? It's because they were a little too far away. They were in the transformation distance, but not in the kill distance. And Bracket Key does a good amount of damage, but it's not gonna insta-kill. It's not gonna insta-kill like the Big Boy is. And the final difference is Bracket Key is S tier. It's an S tier item, dude. And just the simple fact of being S tier makes it a lot worse. It makes it a lot worse, which is the unfortunate truth of Gungeon. A lot of things in this game are a lot worse because they were given a high tier. It's the sad truth, but that's just how it works. Bracket Key, you're giving up that magnificence. Or, yeah, you're gaining magnificence, rather, by taking that. Let's take out Proton. Or, actually, we have Blast Helmet, so we don't need to worry. And Big Boy is, I think, B tier? Yeah, it's B tier. Which is crazy. You're not giving up anything except for spawning Lord of the Jammed by getting Big Boy. And Lord of the Jammed doesn't matter that much with Big Boy because you're one-shotting problem rooms. If you see a problem room or you just see a room with a lot of enemies, you just nuke them and you can keep moving away from Lord of the Jammed. you can keep a relatively good distance because you're going to be killing those problem rooms and those big rooms so quickly. It's ridiculously strong. So Big Boy is probably #1 on my list of things that's worth it to spawn Lord of the Jam for. Another one is Curse Bullets, of course. Curse Bullets, well, I shouldn't say of course, because if you're less experienced in Hero Shrine trying to give it a go, I honestly wouldn't recommend taking Curse Bullets, especially early on. If you're floor 3 plus, maybe even Abbey plus, beyond, it can be worth taking Curse Bullets. But early on, it's very hard to deal with Lord of the Jams. So floor 1, Oubliette, floor 2, it's probably not worth taking Curse Bullets for you. But for me, it is worth it. It is worth it. Let me think. It's hard to remember sometimes what's on my list. Skeleton Key is not. Surprisingly. Skeleton Key is not worth it, in my opinion. The problem with Skeleton Key is if I open it from a chest and there's a lot of things I need to open immediately, like let's say I open a black chest and I get Skeleton Key, and sorry, and there's maybe a room drop chest, the other chest, and let's say we're on floor 1, so we need to open the hatch too. That's 4 locks. Maybe I'll take Skeleton Key to open the 4 locks and then just drop it. Either I'll drop it, or depending on how strong I become from opening that stuff, maybe I'll take it to the Oubliette to get further ahead on my key economy. Because the problem with Skeleton Key is, maybe not the problem, but the fact with Skeleton Key is you don't need to keep Skeleton Key for the entire run. You just don't. You only need to keep Skeleton Key until it gets you far enough ahead on your key economy that you can open everything anyway. So if I'm on floor 1, let's say we're in the same situation. I'm on floor 1 and I have like 5 keys. And I open the black chest and I get Skeleton Key. I have 4 keys left over. I need 2 keys to go to the Abbey, or the Oubliette, sorry. And we still have the 2 chests, which I may or may not open. I'm not going to take Skeleton Key because we're already so far ahead on key economy that I just don't need it. I don't need to take Lord of the Jams for it. And I don't need to lower my Magnificence for it. That's another problem with Skeleton Key. It's S tier. If you take that Skeleton Key, you are less likely to see those Magnificent the things. Let's do the rat, by the way. Not a whole lot to talk about on the rat. Honestly, just a pretty basic fight. What else is on that list? Spice is also not on the list, which is surprising because, in my opinion, Spice is the best item in the game, like hands down. I'm actually going to use Gungeon. Well, okay, never mind. We'll just stick with what we got. But Spice, man. Okay, well, Spice is a little more complicated because the first use of Spice is only 0.5 curse. That's the only thing in the game that gives 0.5 only. There's things that give 2.5, like buying from Cursula. But the first use of Spice is actually the only thing that gives 0.5, which is very unique because, as you know, in Hero Shrine you start with 9. So you can eat that first Spice to go to 9.5 and still not spawn Lord of the Jammed, which is awesome. So if I see Spice in a red chest, an A tier chest, I will eat it on floor 1. I will totally eat it. Maybe not on floor 1, but I'll keep the Spice and maybe eat it later if I want. It depends on the game state. If I'm on probably not floor 1. If I'm on like floor 2 and I see Cursula and she's selling Spice, again, the best item in the game in my opinion. Floor 2, Cursula is selling Spice. I won't buy it. I just won't. Because the difference is buying Spice from Cursula instantly spawns Lord of the Jam. I can't choose when I spawn him later on while still collecting all that spice. It just doesn't happen. Sorry, this rocket attack is awkward. I'm just gonna blank. So spice is on there with an asterisk, I guess. Oh, I missed that roll. That's unfortunate. There's other things that are on the list, which I'm totally spacing on, actually. I'm trying to think. Any cursed guns that are worth it? Oh, finished gun, of course. Finished gun. Of course, finished gun is worth it. I think that can go without saying. Finished gun is just ridiculously powerful. If you have finished gun unlocked, of course you're going to spawn Lord of the Gym for it. Those 3 might be it though, or 4 I guess if you count spice. What are we using here? We can use Bling Gun a lot. Yeah, I'm actually relatively weak right now because we skipped the Abbey unintentionally. If I had the choice, I would have gone to the Abbey because I was not super powerful. But even though we missed it, it's not that big of a deal. Not a big worry. Just wrap this up a little bit here. Wow. Man, I'm like embarrassing myself over here, getting hit to all the bosses. I'm not playing well at all this run. But the thing is, sometimes you're just not playing that well. That's just a fact. Not everybody can play like a god every single day, or every single time they play. There's double vision. We don't have an active item right now, so I will be taking that. I usually go for the 6 key on Punch Out. There's no reason. I just like to. Magic's sweet. That's really good. Magic Sweet is awesome. Yeah, not a whole lot to say about Punch Out here. This fight is literally just memorization. You just memorize what to do against what attack, and just do it. So, not a whole lot going on here. Come on, buddy. Zilla Shotgun. Zilla Shotgun is fairly poor, but the thing is, after the rat, I usually don't care about Magnificence. Even on floor 3, I'm a lot more lenient on what I take that's Magnificent. Like, if I had seen Zilla Shotgun on floor 3, I probably would have taken it. Just because by that point, it doesn't matter. You're gonna get Magnificence from the rat anyway. So it really doesn't matter. We actually lost our balloon gun ammo, which is unfortunate. We're gonna have to waste some ammo refilling it. I'm gonna go Mine Cutter as well. Pick these really quick. That's a Mimic. Not a whole lot to say about these either. Everybody knows what the rat items are, what they do, why they're good. Except for the cheese gun. The cheese gun, you will never see me use. The cheese gun is too slow. It does no damage. Like, I will take the cheese gun, but you will never see me use it. You just won't. It's not very good. It's too cheesy. You freeze everything, and it takes forever to kill. Very annoying. So we're going to use Alien Sidearm for our main room clear and Mine Cutter as our sidearm, like normal. And yeah, we are going to floor 5. If you are newer to the game, or even not even newer, just like, even if you can kill the rat consistently and you're pretty good at the game and you're just trying out Hero Shrine, go to floor 4. Just go to floor 4. You're going to get a lot more power from there. But it's just time-wise not worth it for me. Plus, this has already been going for well over an hour. Not well over an hour, but an hour, 12 minutes. We've been in this run, so might as well just wrap it up here. I've talked about most of what I want to. You'll notice, yeah, I didn't talk about general gameplay very much. Because, in my opinion, general gameplay is just kind of self-explanatory. You practice, and you don't get hit. That's just kind of how it goes. It's not worth my time to explain to you what to do here. Also, worth mentioning, shoutouts to the Gungeon speedrunning community. It was probably in the summer. I joined the Gungeon speedrunning Discord to learn about floor layouts a little bit, which was very helpful. There's a really good guide on that, which I can probably link in the description. Basically, I can't remember if it's like a Google Doc or a Google, I think it's a Google slide, but it explains to you all the different layouts of every floor and how to get through them most efficiently. Which I didn't take the time to learn all the floor layouts, I'll admit. It just wasn't worth my time. But I specifically wanted to learn floor 5 layouts. Because like I said, once I kill the rat, the run's already won. We've already won. So I just want to finish it as quickly as possible, basically. Which also involves getting through floor 5 as quickly as possible. So I'll give you a little sneak peek of that, my thought process. Right here. With the nice thing about floor 5 is it's very easy to learn. Which was very handy. I'm glad it wasn't hard to learn. You can just look at the first room and you generally know what the floor looks like. So right here, this is what they call a corridor king. A little speedrunning explanation here. This is a corridor king. So if I open this, it's a little hallway that's its own room. You'll see these a lot. This is interchangeable with, you'll see those little rooms with like maybe tiny pits, maybe a saw blade that's spinning around a little like island wall thing with only bulletkin in it. Only bulletkin. Nothing else can spawn in there. Well, maybe dynamite can spawn in there. I'm not sure. Dynamite can replace stuff randomly. It's really weird. But generally only bulletkin. That's interchangeable with this little hallway. Both of those are called a corridor king. So if you see a corridor king on off the first room on the forge, you know you got the bad layout, actually. You instantly know you got the bad layout, so you're gonna have to clear most of the floor to find the boss. And of course, I'm not a speedrunner, so what do? Generally what I do is I go to the shop and I go to the boss. I don't go to the chests. The chests are not worth it for me. There's Cursula with nothing worth it. Here is a mini boss. I will use balloon gun for this guy. We'll use double vision, why not? Mini bosses are actually not bosses, so they're not affected by damage cap. So if you have Potion of Gun Friendship, you have Ring of Triggers, you have double vision, you have any of that weird stuff that just makes you do a ridiculous amount of damage and go over damage cap, you can go crazy against mini bosses because they don't have damage cap. You have that luxury. Okay. There's that. Not very useful, but that's okay. What was I saying? Yeah. I like to go... What am I doing? I like to go to the shop, and I like to go to the boss, of course. I don't go to the chest rooms. But the problem with this layout is you have to pass the chests to get to the boss. You have to pass both of the chests to get to the boss, actually. So on this layout specifically, I will take the time to go to the chests, because you only have to clear one extra room for one of them and no extra rooms for the other one. So I'll do it. But with any other layout, I won't bother. But again, wouldn't recommend that in general. That's just kind of an advanced strategy if you're trying to grind out runs quickly. If you're just trying to win, go for the chests, full clear, get all the money you can. You know the drill. Oh, also, I do know where the nice thing about this floor layout is it's super simple, easy. I'm not very good at reading layouts, but this one is just pretty much always the same and very easy to read. You have one path that connects to the Quarter King at the start, which is this one. This is just going to loop around. This one is going to go to the shop, and this one will go to the boss. And you know this one will go to the boss because you saw the red door. Red doors are very key in speedrunning to knowing where to go, actually. I am a professional Gungeon speedrunner, after all. I'm just kidding. Kidding, of course. Grab this, Lament as Curse, I'm not interested. Yeah, Lament. Ooh, that's another one that sadly I won't take for Lord of the Jams. I usually will never take it. Lament is like... I don't know if it's my favorite active item. It's up there, though. It's one of my favorite active items. It is so fun to use and so rewarding in normal runs. In Hero Shrine, you get that instant Lord of the Jam spawn before you get any rewards. It's just not really worth it, which is really sad, but it is what it is. So a little tip here, you can go to the end of the dragon, like hallway, teleport out, and you stay zoomed out. That's a neat little tip that I like, or a neat little strategy that I like to use. We're gonna clear this room. The chest is right there. We'll get that. And then we'll go to the shop. The forge shop is usually pretty juicy, so I like to go to it. Especially if I have the money. If I don't have the money, of course, I just won't go. I'll just get to the boss and then leave. Okay. Yeah. You'll notice... Oh, we actually... I was going to say we don't have any damage ups, but we did get Magic Sweep, luckily. But this run has been relatively weak, is what I wanted to say. This run has been relatively weak. And we're still making it work. Partially because I'm not getting hit every room, partially because we're making smart decisions. Well, maybe not even because we're making smart decisions. There have been no synergy decisions I've had to make, except for with the Charm Bow earlier. As far as min-maxing goes, this run has been pretty simple. We got Charge Shot, that is amazing. I love Charge Shot. Oh, but yeah, we were talking about important synergies earlier, and I kind of cut myself off. I've been all over the place, which I do apologize for. Don't really have my thoughts in order. We talked about Iron Stance, we talked about Pistol Machine, we talked a little bit about Nailed It. We talked about Glass Cannon. I didn't give you the synergy name. It's Max Payne, is the Glass Cannon synergy with the glass. Guan Stone. Just like that. Max Pain is a really important one. Master's Chambers, I think, is what the Chamber Gun synergy is called. That one, ridiculously important, of course, because it gets you Chamber Gun. There's no other really common ones that I can think of off the top of my head that work with a ridiculous number of things that you're gonna see a lot of the time. Honestly. Other ones are important, just not really common. Things like, oh, I don't know. Phoenix Up. Well, Phoenix Up is pretty common, but that's a little bit of a weaker one. I say weaker. Phoenix Up can one-shot bosses, given the right circumstances, which I won't even get into. I don't know why that works. But Phoenix Up is one that's kind of nice to know. But maybe more niche ones like Mega Hand synergies, maybe... Oh, I don't know. All the heavy bullet or heavy boot synergies that you might see. Like, learning those synergies is pretty useful. Because it makes it so you can identify things that are worth buying without Googling everything in your run. Because if you have to look up everything on the wiki that you see in the shop or whatever, it can take forever. It's very annoying. You don't want to have to do that. That's one nice part about learning these synergies. Speaking of synergies, one thing that I didn't touch on, which is very important, it kind of has to do with Pistol Machine. Bionic Leg. Bionic Leg maybe isn't the best item in the game. It's the best synergy item in the game. Easily. The reason for that is it has, I don't even know how many synergies it has, like 4 or 5 maybe? And all of them are really strong. The weakest one is like the Robot Cop one. I can't remember the name. I just call it RoboCop usually. Also, I will... Ooh. So yeah, buy Bionic Leg every time because it's the best synergy item in the game. I don't think I need to explain any more than that. Just look up Bionic Leg on the Gungeon wiki and look at the synergies. And then look at the tier, because it is C tier. That is the best part about Bionic Leg. It is C tier. It is ridiculously inexpensive in the shop. You should always be buying that if you can afford it. Plus, move speed is a very good stat, and it gives 1 armor. Just ridiculously strong. But we'll speed through that explanation because I really want to touch on hell layouts. So I talked about how I went out of my way to learn Forge layouts. Right now, and I didn't explain it at all because Forge layouts are they're easy to learn, but they're a little too complicated for me to explain right here. But this is super simple and super important. So it's good to pay attention here. Hell layouts. So the thing about hell layouts is all the other floors have like a bunch of different layouts that you have to learn. Hell has one layout that just changes slightly, but only one layout that you have to learn. And hell is the most important floor to learn the layout in for casual players, because you don't want to clear the whole floor. There's no chests, there's no shop. It's a very difficult floor. You want to get to Lich as quickly as possible. So learning this, and I would even, it's kind of a speedrun strat, but this is really important for casual players too, in my opinion, is learning hell layouts. So let me even give you a quick rundown. Basically, there's 3 parts to it. And each part is just the one room where it splits into different paths. There's 3 parts where it's going to split into different paths. Okay? The first room is the spawn room. The spawn room, one of these rooms is going to go to a dead end here, which was this one. And I'll explain why I knew it was this one in a sec. One of them is going to go to a dead end after one room, and the other two paths just intersect and go the correct direction. So basically, you can't really mess up the first one, because if you mess up, you immediately know you did, because it's a dead end. So just pick one. If it's a dead end, go the other way. If not, just keep going. And if you see a corridor king like this, where one path is the corridor king, this is a corridor king, by the way. You can tell because the question mark is really close to the door on the map. These are gonna connect and just go nowhere. And this is the right direction. So we want to go this way. But if we had gone this way, we're gonna see, or we're gonna have to clear 2 rooms, and then we're gonna see the corridor king from this side. But since there's no other paths to go to besides the corridor king, you just continue down that path. So basically, if there's 2 paths and one is a corridor king, which is this hallway, don't go down the corridor king. But if there's only one path, just keep going down the one path, and you'll find the right way. Just try to make sure you don't loop back to the start. It'll be pretty obvious which hallway goes back to the start anyway. Even if you don't understand the whole corridor king thing, just try not to loop back to the start with that first one. So we're gonna clear until we get to the second loop. Or, I shouldn't say second loop, second fork. The second fork is the most important one, because the first one you can't really mess up. Even if you do mess up, you're only clearing like maybe 2 extra rooms. 1 or 2 extra rooms. Hopefully just 1 if you realize you messed up. But this second one, once we come to it, here it is. Which unfortunately we didn't get the lucky tell. Which I will explain in a sec. Well, maybe it's good that we didn't get the lucky tell, because I can explain how to do this. Okay, so here's the second split. The second split is the most important part, because if you detoured through this one, it's going to be the longest detour and the most dangerous. So, pretty much, the way this works is 2 of these paths are going to make a big loop and just connect to each other and go nowhere. And one of the paths is going to go to the right way. And there is a way to tell which one is going to be correct, just by looking at it if you get lucky. So, first off, let's say, or let me explain, the middle path is always wrong. Always, always, always wrong on this one. And you can tell what the middle path is because, what the middle path is by, I don't know how to explain this, because it's pretty obvious what the middle path is, but sometimes it can be a little confusing. Just be careful that you know what the middle path is, based on the entry. This is the side, this is the side, this is the middle. Just be careful, because it can be a little confusing based on the layout. I don't know how to explain it, but be careful about that. But if one of the sides is noticeably longer than the other one, like if this one extended down here, the question mark were down here, and this question mark were just really close, you know this path is correct. So you can just go, because you already know that's right. But since there's not a noticeable difference, it's kind of hard to tell because one is up and one is down. It does look like they are equal distance. Even though this one looks a little bit longer, it's kind of deceiving. So what I like to do when they're relatively the same is go down the middle path. You go down the wrong path. Why do you go down the wrong path on purpose? Because you know it's the wrong one. If you know which path is the wrong one, by extension, you know which path is the right one, right? So now we know immediately Oh, look, it's going up. So it's going to connect to that top one. So, boom. We know to go down after clearing only one extra room. So basically the strategy for that one is look at the sides. Is one of them noticeably longer than the other one? If it is, go down it. If not, go down the middle path and look at where it's going. And wherever it's going, go the opposite way. Because the middle path is going the wrong way. That one is very, very important, which is why I wanted to spend so much time explaining it. There's the Evil Muncher. We're not going to be using that. Evil Muncher's kind of a scam. I'm just going to use my cheese here. I like to use my cheese to kill these like tanky slimes that puff up because they're kind of annoying to kill. Otherwise, I don't use my cheese a whole lot in hell, honestly. It's just preference. I prefer to not rely on it too much. Because if I end up not having it for some reason, I will totally get screwed over if I rely on it a lot. Okay, so here's the third split. This is the final one. Or the third fork. The third fork. Yeah, keep in mind, I'm not a speedrunner. I'm not experienced in I'm not super experienced in layouts. This is mostly just from what I've observed. I've never had a proper hell explanation given to me. I've just observed all this stuff. So the third one, I give that little heads up because the third one is a lot less consistent than the second one. There's no good tell that I know of as to which one is the right way. But I can give you a couple pointers to give yourself maybe a better chance. Not a guarantee, not even close to a guarantee, but maybe a better chance of finding the Lich quickly. So this is the final one. The way the final one works is each path just goes in one direction and is either a dead end or goes to the Lich. So one thing you want to keep in mind is the Lich boss door is always upwards. It's never different. It's never to the side. It's never down like other boss doors can be. It's always, always up. Which means it's probably not going to be the door that's going down. It can be. That's why I say probably. It can be the door going down. It's just a lot less likely. So what I like to do is I like to go to the side, personally. Because the side is kind of neutral. Sometimes when the door's going straight up, it goes too far up. So then it just goes to a dead end. There's not enough room for a Lich or whatever. Another thing you can do is just look at the space. I don't know where this upper door would even go to have the Lich. So I'm going to go to the side. Typically, I like to go to the side. I definitely don't like going down. And if I can avoid it, I don't like going up. Or I like to go up second, if it's a choice. So let's just keep it going. Here's ammo. Let's refill. How's Balloon Gun doing? Okay, how's Minecutter doing? Good. How's Chard Chud doing? Chard Chud's doing really well. So let's just go with this. Oh, and there you go. There's the boss. And the door's facing up. So that's just a little pointer. It's not consistent by any means. And if there is a consistent way that somebody knows of out there, awesome. I would love an explanation personally. And I don't want to be giving out misinformation, but yeah. That is what I do personally. For that last one, I just go to the side. Go to the side first. If it doesn't work out, go up. Or go to a different side if that's an option. And sometimes both of those don't work, and it did go down. Very rarely, but sometimes. Charge shot with homing bolts is pretty awesome. Yeah, you see we're damage capping pretty hard. It doesn't matter too much, but it is noticeable. Yeah, not a whole lot to say about the Lich, honestly. Again, this isn't really a boss tutorial or anything like that. Not even a gameplay tutorial. I didn't tell you how to dodge anything. Just told you how to play more efficiently. Although, man, one gameplay tip I should mention is rolling against the wall, man. If there's one gameplay tip that I would give to people, it's try to roll against the wall more. Maybe not try to, but just keep it in mind. Because rolling against the wall gives you the iframes without making you lose your position. You don't move and you become invincible. It's ridiculously powerful. So there's my one gameplay tip for you. Try to roll against the wall a little bit more, or at least keep in mind. Because it can be a great tool. It can get you out of a lot of situations that you wouldn't normally think you could get out of. And either way, that's GG. I played horribly, but hey, we still won convincingly. So that just goes to show this game, you don't need to play perfectly. Even playing at the highest level, 1,000 Hero Shrine Paradox Lich Streak, I'm not worried about how well I'm playing usually. I'm more worried about making good decisions with my money, with what I take, with my magnificence, with my synergy factor. Less so with my gun classes, but keeping it in mind maybe a little bit. And yeah, I hope even the most experienced Gungeon people learned something from this. Because I talked about a few things that are not very well documented. Hopefully they will be someday. Synergy factor and Heart Magnificence. Fingers crossed. I just keep a prayer in my heart that they are well documented someday and more people know about them, because they are very good tools to utilize, especially Synergy factor. So that's it. Hope you learned something. Thank you.